Do you believe that at some point in life, we all have killed and murdered someone? Welcome to 10 Commandment Series. This week, we will talk about thou shalt not murder, while other translation tells us that thou shalt not kill. What are some of the reasons why people murder, and how do people murder or kill? In Romans chapter 3, verse 9 to 20 tells us that none of us is righteous. People are not righteous not only for the Jews or the Greek, nor the Gentiles. When we apply them today, it is Christians and non-Christians, people of different school of thoughts. None of us are righteous because we do not rely on God's word. We go around believing in our own philosophies, in our own ideas. People go around creating trouble and stirring up heat and conflict all the time. This was mentioned in Romans chapter 3, and we can see it today as well. At the same time, the Bible also tells us and reflects why people commit murder. And there are a few points where we can draw and illustrate. The first one is because of greed. When Esau tried to kill Jacob, his own brother, because Jacob stole his birthright, Esau was furious. He wanted to take his brother's life away. We also find it is because of jealousy. When Cain murdered his own brother Abel because of the sacrifice that was not acceptable to God's sight, Cain took his life. Furthermore, we can also find it's because of fear. David killed his own soldier, the soldier who was close to him, Uriah. David feared that his sins would be uncovered. That was the reason why David took his life away. At the same time, we also find in the Bible illustrating that people murder because of personal revenge. We can find it with Absalom, who killed his brother for raping his own stepsister. This is just some of the illustration or points where we can draw. The question becomes, do we fall in these categories? Do we hurt, do we kill and murder people because of jealousy, greed, fear, and also personal revenge? Do we know that there is something common in all of these acts? The common thing is that people value ideas, power, and material over God. They make these things to become idol, and they put it before God. This is where people's heart become idolatrous and people start sinning. We take matters into our own hands when we value other things more than the value of life. We fear, we have greed, we have desires. And Sermon on the Mount tells us where the root cause is. Whereas in the Old Testament, it was plain and clear that thou shalt not kill or murder. When Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 to 22, in the New Testament, when Jesus told the parable about anger, a sermon given on the mount, he said that you have heard in the times of the old that thou shalt not kill or murder. But he goes on to say that whosoever kills and murder will be judged. But it doesn't stop there. He goes on to tell, whosoever gets angry with his brother or sister without a cause is also in danger of judgment. We see over here the root cause of killing and murdering comes from anger. How many of us have anger issues? We may have not killed anyone directly or murdered anyone, but we have become angry at some point in our life. And anger is the root cause. Have we been angry without a cause? And do we try to justify our anger because of greed, because of fear, because of personal revenge? What do we do when we become angry? What is the solution of your anger? Do we plot? Do we plan? How do we take away people's life? Do we recognize that all life is precious? If we recognize that all life is precious and all life matters, we will recognize that we cannot take away any life because we cannot give life. We need to be protective of other people's life. We need to recognize and hear the still small voice. It is the still small voice of the minorities. That small voice that we have neglected. Voices of different race, of different color, voices from different communities. Those still small voices are still crying in the wilderness. In the wilderness that is not included in the system, that is not included in the Constitution. If your constitutions and policies are written only to a certain group of people, then we have left out many other lives. As Christians, do we see that all life matters and life is precious in God's sight? Furthermore, we need to also remember and recognize that our days are long, but our years are short. When we look back 10 years, 20 years, it was like yesterday. What have we done with time? Have we made use of this gift that was given to us? And with the remaining time that we have in our life, what do we plan to do about it? How are we going to make it constructive to other people? Are we going to give them hope? Are we going to bring them life? Don't destroy someone's life with your words. Do you know that word is so powerful? It brings life and also death, because in Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21 tells us the tongue has power to bring life and death. How is our words? Do we speak ill of others? Do we continue to gossip about others? As a church leader, this is for you. How is your sermon? Is your sermon bringing hope and life to the congregation and to the community? Or are you trying to justify yourself that you are holier than your members or congregation? Does your sermon continue to label and pinpoint the ones that have done wrong? Yes, there are people who have committed crimes, murdered, abortion, people who have taken other people's life. But we find this so common in all the churches that we label them. But the text clearly tells us there is another form of murdering and killing. That is with our own tongue. Is our lips so poisonous that it kills the person? Can we bring hope to the ones that are lost? Is our community of faith embracing these people? We all have sinned. We all have spoken ill of others. But let us remember that this is the foundation of our actions. Many times we are angry without a cause. There is a role play that goes in our mind. There are plot and scheme that goes on in our mind. How many people's life have we destroyed in our workplace? We know that they deserve a promotion. We know that they deserve a raise, but we stopped. We know that our policy is for everyone, but does it reach out to the poor and the needy? How is your constitution written? Do we give opportunities to the ones that are weak, to the ones that do not have a surname that is popular or recognized in the society? Let us rethink and refocus on our words, on our actions, and in our anger, that all life matters to God. And let us respect everyone that comes to church. Let us embrace them. Let us be constructive and not destructive. Let us recognize that we all have sinned. And this commandment is so important because it lays the foundation to all remaining commandments. Because this points to the depth and the shallowness of your heart. What goes on in your mind matters most because it is the foundation of your action. You need to have a cause for your brothers and sisters. It is my prayer that we recognize that life is precious. Time is of an essence, and we must honor each one that is around us. May God bless you all.